What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. God, I'm actually quite nervous now.
Why?
I really am quite nervous. Less than a week to go.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Season kicks off this week. This week, and we got no attackers.
Literally, the Premier League season kicks off on Friday.
I know.
5 days.
I know. Arsenal already up to their antics in the Community Shield. Dirty dives from Calafiori. Lewis Skelly should have been sent off.
It's already started.
It's already started.
Should we just hand them
PGMOL FC already at it again.
Should we just hand them the Premier League title now? Just be done with it.
Mate. And Man City. Jesus.
I'm starting to see why you're really worried.
Man City looks so bad. So bad.
I'm starting to see now. It's not about Tottenham. This worry isn't about Spurs.
Oh.
It's about something else.
And as well, 5 minutes into the game, Gabriel all over that man. I think it was Kuzanov. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah.
All over him. He goes down, and Arteta complaining to the ref about pulling the shot. Oh, mate, it's all started already.
Haven't even had one official game in the Premier League, and it's already wound you up.
Really has. I was watching that game.
It's a friendly. Like, everyone just chill out. It was a friendly yesterday. Don't Arsenal always win? I swear they've got like 100% record in the Community Shield. They always win it every time. Apparently,
there was a stat that came out yesterday being like only one in the last 8 years or something. Community Shield winners have won the league.
Yeah. The winners of it usually don't win the league. Yeah, it's true.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good omen. But I mean, considering City are supposed to be Arsenal's biggest challengers, they wiped the floor with them yesterday. It was concerning.
I know. We know who Arsenal's real big challengers are this season.
Once we get Savinho and Gakpo, they're going to be running scared.
Exactly. So, but it just wound me up because, like, I was saying all summer, you just wait till the new season starts. You wait till the end of the narrative. Arsenal ain't going to be getting these decisions anymore. And then straight away, bang. First game, they're getting all the decisions again. Just pissed me off.
Yeah. I think many Spurs fans... Well, look, I turned it off at 3-0. I didn't even bother watching the rest. But, yeah, it's going to be a long season. I was hoping some of these new implementations might change things, but based on that evidence, just hand them the league now. Be done with it. Let's just hope they just don't get the CL.
Nah, they're not winning the league. They're not winning the league. But the reality is, you'll see how we really feel when the predictions come out at some point this week, because it's the build-up now. It is the build-up to the new season. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of predictions to make, and we're going to really see what we think coming into this new season. We'll
have the predictions, and I think there's going to be a hell of a lot of movement in the window for everyone in these last couple of weeks. So we'll probably do revised predictions at the end of the window as well. But we'll see where we're sitting right now this week.
I think last year, when we made the predictions and we made revised predictions, I actually think our original predictions were better than the revised ones.
Yeah, and funnily enough, it's happened to be that way.
But anyway, I'll never put in to the live chat the link to OK Jersey, but I'll do that right now. Head over to OK Jersey, people. 10% off for all your jersey fixes. You know where to go. Top quality stuff. The third shirt will be on there pretty soon as well, which I can't wait to get my hands on. Home and away's up there. The home goalkeeping shirt's up there, which is already cheap, and you get a further 10% off with the code Spurs, and remember to order a size up as well. Look, let's just get straight into it because we've got so much. Well, we got quite significant news to speak about today, and here we go for Guillermo Vicario. There's been talk about him all summer, and it looks as though the deal is finally coming to a conclusion. Fabrizio Romano was actually first to break this news, and he says, Juventus agree a deal to sign Vicario from Tottenham. Here we go. Spurs accept the loan proposal with a buy clause, not a mandatory clause. Vicario wanted the move and leaves Tottenham Hotspur today. David Ornstein basically just backing him up, saying that Tottenham accept Juventus's bid, proposal sent overnight, loan and an option to buy. And Romeo Agresti just gave us a bit more information, saying the fee of the buy option is set at 10 million euros, which is really cheap for Vicario. So that's £8.5 million that they have the option to buy him at the end of the season. Think about it, it's just like
Crazy low, isn't it?
It is like, in terms of these deals, like for Spence and for Romero and now Vicario, like, are we setting a bit of a precedent here of like being like, if we want a player to go, like, we'll just sell them for pennies?
It's just the price when we're dealing with all these brokies. That's the truth. All these clubs around Europe, you can't demand the same fees as you would in the Premier League. That's just reality. And we are to look at Rodri. I'm not saying, look, if he was to be sold to a Premier League team, I'm sure he would have gone for more than 60 million. And he's probably the best DM in the world right now. I know he's 30.
Like last year of his contract as well.
I understand that, but still, there have been players in the like look at Kane. He was 29 or 30, and when we sold him, and
It's true, but you always go for more if you were like a goal scorer.
Yeah, but he's the best DM in the world.
Yeah.
I know Kane was the best striker in the world as well. I'm just saying, the fees around Europe, we can't really. If we want to get rid of these players, and no one in the Premier League is coming in with Vicario, this is just the reality. I think with Juve, they've clearly got doubts about him because he wasn't their first choice. They wanted Martinez, that broke down. They wanted Suzuki. There's been I can't remember who else they were in for, but they've clearly not sure about Vicario, so they're doing this loan deal with an option to buy. I reckon, does Martinez only have a year left on his deal?
I'm not sure. I imagine so. I think it was 1 or 2. I'll check.
Because I reckon they're going to loan Vic, see how good he is. If he's no good, they'll sign Emmy on a free. That's what I think their plan is. And I think Emmy was a bit weird. There was a bit of a U-turn with
he's got till 2029.
2029, so that's 3 years. Oh, he's got a long time. Okay, so maybe that's not the plan. But I think
Definitely not the plan.
but I think they're not certain about him, so they're only getting him on loan for now, and then they'll kind of see how it goes. I don't think their plan right now is to activate it. I think their plan is they don't really have a goalkeeper. They're looking for an improvement. Vic's like sitting there. They're willing to take him on loan, but they're not sure about him.
Yeah.
But I think he'll do well there.
Yeah, he will do well there. Look, the reality is, there's a bit of a narrative around Vicario saying that he's a shocking keeper, he's a terrible keeper. Like, he's not. Like, we've seen it firsthand. He is a good keeper. He didn't have a good season last year, granted, and he's not the right keeper for Spurs because of the way we want to play. And Kinski is so much better for that style of play, playing out the back and what have you. We need a keeper that is comfortable with the ball at his feet, and that's just not Vicario. But in terms of just an out-and-out goalkeeper, shot stopping and stuff like that, like, he is a very good keeper, and I think he'll do well at Juventus. And I think they've got, if they do sign him for 8.5 million, it's a great deal for Juventus. I really believe that. And look, he doesn't. I'm not saying he's an unbelievable keeper. He comes with his flaws, but for a certain amount of time, for a period of time, he was like one of the best keepers in the Premier League.
Yep. There was even a time we thought we got the better deal between him and Arsenal for Raya.
It was very short-lived.
And there was a time, though, where we were like, have we? You know, we signed him for a bit cheaper, and he was, at the beginning anyway, he was outperforming Raya, but as you say, it didn't last very long. But I think a lot of the discourse around him, and it's kind of like short-term memory in terms of last season. Obviously, he had that hernia problem. That must have affected him quite badly because he was making uncharacteristic mistakes, especially when it comes to letting in lots of soft goals, which for his first 2 seasons at Tottenham wasn't the case. He was actually a very reliable shot stopper. I thought he was one where you could really rely on him to not let in these really soft goals from range or anything like that. But last season, that completely went out the window. He was making really poor errors, and then the problems with his kicking was obviously still there. So then he wasn't kicking well. He wasn't making those saves that he usually does. Obviously, when he comes for crosses and his when he commands his box, he's never been amazing at it, although he probably improved over the years. But I'm seeing 100%, I'm seeing people on X, on other social media platforms saying he's one of the worst keepers ever played for Tottenham. He's awful, like so happy to see the back of him. Obviously, I think we can all agree we need to upgrade, and I think with Kinski, he's much more of a modern style keeper. He's much more what De Zerbi wants. He's going to be an extra player and build up, which is going to allow us to do what De Zerbi wants when we're on the ball. So I think Kinski needed to happen, and obviously he seems to have improved a lot of aspects when it comes to his shot stopping, so that's brilliant. But I think Vicario, for especially his first 2 seasons, was brilliant. I think his first season he was really good. I think his second season, up until he got that broken ankle, I thought he was fantastic, and then he came back from that broken ankle, was a big part of us winning that Europa League. Obviously made the mistake in the final, which luckily for him didn't cost us, but people also forget he made some big saves in that final, which ultimately we only won it 1-0, and that could have been the difference. So he was obviously a big part. And then even last season, yes, he had a poor season, but there was even some games I remember in the middle, like that Monaco game, where he made like 8 saves. And I remember there was a period where if it wasn't for Vicario, we were getting battered every week, and he was really keeping us in games at times. But then the hernia kicked in, and whatever happened with him, and he was having a shocking time. And then Kinski came in last 7 games, and he was fantastic, and we kind of never looked back. So, yeah, I think Vicario shouldn't be remembered as this awful keeper who was a massive flop. I just don't think that was the case. I think he was a good keeper who came in for a short period of time, and I think ultimately we needed upgrading on him eventually, but I don't think he was a bad keeper by any stretch of the imagination.
Look, I think he served the club well, always held himself, well, passion, commitment, integrity. I think his time should be looked back on in Tottenham in a positive light. You know, the goalkeeper that was in the team that won us the Europa League. You know, that team obviously getting broken apart now. Like, how many of the Europa League winners now have gone? You're looking at him, you're looking at Jed Spence, you're looking at Kuti Romero. Is there any of the others of that team?
Oh, Son's obviously gone.
Yeah, Sonny's gone now. So, I mean, he is part of that team that brought that success to Tottenham. So, you know, he should be thanked and he should be remembered in a positive light. But yeah, 100%, like, he had to go. He had to move on because the way we're playing now is just not suited to his strengths. And I always was worried about Vicario from set pieces and corners. Like, he wasn't the strongest at like commanding his box, and like there was a period of time where oppositions were clearly targeting him from set pieces. You know, you put it on top of him, and we were conceding so many goals that way. And he kind of did sort of work that out a little bit, maybe helped by his defence a little bit by giving him a bit more protection. But look, the guy had flaws in his game. There's no doubt about it. He had flaws in his game. But I'm going to remember his time at Tottenham more positive than negative, even with those flaws. So, but I'm happy he's moved on.
And he was always a guy, one thing you could never take away from him, he always gave 100%. He cared a lot. And he was obviously, he really ingratiated himself within the club. He really... like his obviously his parents were a big part of away days.
That's what I'm going to miss the most out of everything. His parents, brilliant.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. Like he really grew to love the club. He cared a lot. He was really desperate to be one of the leaders.
Passion, doesn't he?
Yeah,
like, he was all in.
So I think he was a good guy. He was a good keeper for a time, but yeah, it's time to move on. But I think we'll remember him fondly. Where do you think he'll rank for you when it comes to Spurs keepers in the Premier League era?
Spurs goalkeepers in the Premier League era. So obviously behind Lloris, behind Paul Robinson,
Friedel,
behind Friedel. Who else we got?
You got like Sullivan, Keller, Walker.
I think he was better for us than Walker. He was a better keeper than Walker. Sullivan and Keller. I mean, Sullivan wasn't here. I mean, they weren't. I guess Vicario wasn't here for that long either, to be fair. The thing is with Sullivan and Keller, I was about to say they were part of terrible teams, but Vicario finished twice, 17th twice. So he was also part of terrible teams. Gomez, for me, Gomez was better than Vicario.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I mean, who made more mistakes, Gomez or Vicario? Probably Gomez.
Gomez made more mistakes. I just had a closer affinity to Gomez than I did for Vicario. Like that season that Gomez had when we got into the Champions League that year, that is up there with one of the best goalkeeping seasons that we've seen at Tottenham.
Yeah, he was absolutely phenomenal. I don't think Vicario could ever hit those heights, but I kind of feel like Vicario might have been a better keeper. I don't know. Those long arms, like they call him the octopus for a reason.
I'm going for Gomez over Vicario.
It's a close one.
If you offered me Gomez's best season versus Vicario's best season, I'm taking Gomez.
You go Gomez. But I think when Gomez was bad, he was much worse than Vicario.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. So
yeah,
look,
so he's probably not one of the top.
I don't think he was in our top 5 goalkeepers in the Premier League era. He wasn't. So it is what it is. Let's move on because there's been some updates regarding Richarlison. And with Richarlison, SZY tweeted out this morning saying that Tottenham have rejected a bid from Everton for Richarlison, offer deemed below Tottenham's valuation. 29-year-old understood to be open to return. Jake Sanders from The Sun says that Tottenham say that they have not received any bids from Everton for Richarlison. SZY actually responded to that and said the offer was silly, wouldn't be surprised if they shut it down. So he's suggesting that an incredibly low offer has come in for Richarlison. I mean, what do you deem as like an incredibly low offer?
There's obviously the reports, well, the rumours were we're looking for over 35 million for him, which obviously, given his historical injury record, seems like quite optimistic. So I'm assuming they probably bid what we thought we would probably be getting for Richarlison, which is somewhere between 15 and 20 million. Now, there's rumours that Tottenham are looking for a striker. So if it means Richarlison moving on to get an upgrade and get a new number 9, then I don't mind. I'm happy with that. But we shouldn't be stubborn on the price. We haven't been stubborn with these other players. So I think if we need to move on Richarlison to get this new number 9 in, then that's fine. And I like Richarlison. I think he's had a pretty decent pre-season. His numbers have always been decent whenever he's played. He's always had a pretty good goal-scoring record. But I think we all agree that we could do with a number 9 if we can improve in that position. So if Richarlison has to be the full guy, then so be it. So I hope we're not stubborn on 40 million, because I just don't think we're going to get that. I think it kind of depends how far along we are with another striker, how close we are, if we are desperate to sell right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of think that this offer is incredibly low, like even lower than what you're suggesting, because I think Spurs wouldn't reject that out of hand and probably would come to the table and at least, come to the negotiation. Maybe they have, and there's conversation going behind the scenes. But I would be shocked if Spurs got a bid of between 15 and 20 million and they reject that with 1 year left in his deal. We've seen the low offers or low transfer fees that we've accepted already this season for Vicario, for Romero, for Jed Spence. So it would be very strange and out of character if Spurs were to reject something between 15 and 20 for Richarlison, 29 years of age, 1 year left in his deal. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
All the reports are we want 40.
I know, but I just maybe they say they want 40. They said at the beginning of the window we wanted 80 for Romero. Like they'll definitely accept lower than that, 100%.
Yeah, maybe eventually, but maybe it's
we
a
are
negotiation.
Eventually now. Like,
well, how many bids have we had for him?
It's not about how many bids we are. We are near the end of the window now. So surely
you never really accept the first offer. Spence and Romero wasn't the first offer. I think that they were lower even than what they were.
Lower, though.
Still, they rejected them and then they come back. So I think that's probably what we're doing, and we're expecting Everton to up the bid. And that's how negotiations usually work. You don't usually accept the first offer.
Yeah, fine, but I would be shocked if he goes for more than that. Even like if he goes for more than 20 million, I'd be really shocked.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're going to have to. I don't know what the bid is, but I wouldn't be.
I think
shocked.
The bid is belower than what we're saying here. I think the bid is below. I think it's below 15 million.
Might be. I would assume it's around 15 to 20. That's kind of my assumption, but it might be lower. And obviously, then they're right to reject it out of hand, and that's not something they should be accepting straight away. I think for Rishi, coming from a Premier League club as well, obviously we know they got a little bit more money. Yeah, I think we should be looking for around 20 million. I don't think that's not a crazy fee for someone like Richarlison. Especially he's a fan favourite at Everton. They might be a bit desperate to get him back as well. They do have two strikers though, so I wonder if one of them, Beto or Barry, will be leaving if Rishi does come back. So obviously they might have to find a buyer for him. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one develops, because right now there's not really any. There's talk of us wanting a striker, but there are no really names at the moment that's with any seriousness that we're close to. So it's going to be interesting to see who that name is, because I can't see us selling Rishi unless someone's coming in, surely.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. So look, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe they are negotiating for a striker behind the scenes, but again, like we can't kind of bring in another number 9 with these two strikers here, not only because of competition for places and having 3 strikers for one position going into next season is not sustainable, but also you got to look at the squad rules as well. You're only allowed 17 foreign players, and we're already over that. So we need to get players out the door to register new players for the new season. So if we were to sell, we can only bring a striker in if we sell one. That's the reality. As much as we all want to just buy players and willy-nilly and whatever, that's just not reality. So And also Solanke's homegrown and Richarlison is not homegrown. He's a foreign player. So it makes more sense from that aspect to sell Richarlison and keep Solanke, but I would prefer it the other way around. I'd prefer to sell Solanke and keep Richarlison. So, yeah, we need to identify who we want. We need to know who we want before we can sanction a sale. But, you know, we're running out of time here.
Yeah, we are. Not long to go. You would hope that there's someone in the mix. As we say, Romano reported a couple of days ago that Tottenham do want another number 9. So surely we've been identifying targets. Surely we're in negotiation with clubs. Obviously, there's still the secret bomber, which nothing's been revealed about that yet. Whether anything was ever true about it or not, we don't know. But
I don't think there is a secret bomber, man. We need to let this secret bomber go.
The secret bomber. Well, there's been no bomber ever since there was going to be. He said there was going to be a bomber.
This whole hullabaloo saying, yeah, there's going to be one in before Richarlison, and it's not Gakpo, and those are the only 2 names still that we got. So.
Yeah, still only Savinho and Gakpo at the moment. No, unless they're really keeping it under wraps, then we don't really know.
Any day now.
And look, for me, I think, Rishi's time's been up at Tottenham for a while. He's probably been needed upgrading for a couple seasons, but I do like him. I like him as a person. I think he's not a bad player. I think as a backup striker, you could do a lot worse if he was your backup striker. But I think right now he needs to go if we're going to get another number 9 in.
Yeah. I mean, look, I said coming into the window, I wouldn't care if both of them go. At this stage of the window, that's not feasible, particularly because Will Lancashire's gone now. Like I was saying all summer, like let's keep Lancashire as part of the squad. Obviously, he's gone now. So it's got to be one of these to go and one to come in. Like, we're not going to bring in 2 strikers now until the end of the window. We've left it too late. So the most likely candidate does look like Richarlison, and let's hope that we can upgrade on him and bring someone in from now to the end of the window. So, well, let's see first if Everton even are serious about it and want to up their bid, because I doubt we let him go for 5 to 10 million.
No. I reckon, though, if we are seriously in for a striker and it's like advancing, I think we might let him go for a really low fee.
Probably. I guess the precedent is there, isn't it? With the other players. In terms of Lucas Bergvall, Simon Jones is reporting that Bergvall still remains on Newcastle's radar entering the final days of the window. After inquiries, they were told he's going to be over £50 million, and Nottingham Forest are also expected to make another offer for Lucas Bergvall as well. Would you be totally shocked if Lucas leaves from now to the end of the window, seeing as he's been such a key part in pre-season and started the last one as well, which we envisage could be the starting lineup going into Brentford?
Not if we get the fee that we're asking for. I wouldn't be shocked. I think it would be sad and it would be a shame, and I don't want him to leave, and I'd love him to stay. And I think can be have a really big future here at Tottenham. But there's no getting around it. Next season's going to be difficult for him, regardless. And if we do get 60 million sort of that kind of fee, it's hard to say no to that right now. I didn't know about this. Apparently there's some SCR rule which states that because we signed Newcastle from Tonali, they can't sign him till the 20th of August or something like that, because otherwise it counts as a player swap or something along those lines.
Where was that said? I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's apparently I was just talking to Josh before. That's apparently the rule.
Is he tier 1?
Yeah, he's tier 1. He's just talking about the rules, SCR rule, which is why.
Is that an actual rule?
Yeah.
Okay, never heard of that.
Yeah, because so you won't get the full book value for the player if you do it within 45 days, something like that. So there's rumours that maybe Newcastle are waiting till the 20th of August to go for him and sign him. So I don't know how much truth there is to that, but maybe that's something to watch out for in the next few days. But I actually think we're going to be leaving. I know we got Gray coming in as another midfielder, but I just feel better with Gray and Bergvall and Bentancur all there as midfield options rather than selling Bergvall. I think maybe I look at those options. Are we leaving ourselves like just a bit short of quality maybe if we get injuries? I don't know. Just a thought I'm having. But
someone in the comments says that's not an SCR rule. It's a UEFA rule.
Okay. Well, so what? It's only matter if you're part of UEFA, a part in a UEFA competition.
Yeah, that's what I think that's what it suggests. Yeah.
So maybe that's true. I don't know. I read it's an SCR rule. I don't really know. I mean, that's because Newcastle fans were talking about it on social media.
They're
not in Europe, but they were theorising that that's why they're waiting on Bergvall, because they're waiting the 45 days for whatever reason. I don't know. I didn't hear about this rule before today.
And someone says it is SCR, so who knows?
The chat are arguing with each other. I want him to stay. If we get 60, I think this is a player we should be stubborn on in the price. 60 million, or you're not getting him. The problem is if they offer like 55 plus add-ons, do you just relent and say yes? I think the reality is he has asked to leave. We can't forget that. So in that situation, you know, if we force him to stay and he doesn't get the minutes he's happy with, then all of a sudden you might have a problem on your hands. If we do, you know, back up our assurances and maybe he starts the season, and if he keeps playing as he is, he does get regular starts, then maybe everything could be happy and he won't grow disgruntled. But I think there'll probably be other bids coming in between now and the end of the window just to try our luck. But I hope we're stubborn, because I really want him to stay.
And if we do get that bid, I mean, Alex Scott hasn't gone anywhere yet.
Yeah.
You know, he's got going into the last year of his contract. So if we do end up selling Bergvall for 60 million or 55 million, let's go spend that on Alex Scott. You know, go get him in. Like, what an unbelievable replacement that would be.
That's why I'm open to selling him, because if we can sell him and get Alex Scott in, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
And obviously we're not going to get Alex Scott unless we get 60 million for Bergvall.
I wonder why he hasn't gone anywhere yet, because Chelsea were like proper hot on his heels, weren't they? Like weeks and weeks ago.
I think they're waiting to sell Enzo.
Oh, I see. It was all a domino effect from Enzo. And is he still staying now?
Well, at the moment, there's reports saying the City is still in talks with him, but we'll see. He got booed, Enzo, so there's a bit of a... by Chelsea fans.
Oh, did he?
So there's a bit of a bad blood there. So they might
Pre-season boo.
They might not want that to continue, and there's bad blood there.
But, you know, if Enzo Fernandez puts in some good performances for Chelsea, he'll be completely fine.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, look, the Lucas Bergvall thing, I don't think we've heard the last of it. I think in the next week or so, I do think maybe Newcastle, because neither Newcastle or Forest have signed central midfielders or enough central midfielders. You know, big players left both these clubs. You look at Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Elliot Anderson, and they just haven't got sufficient replacements yet.
But if the plan is just to sell Bergvall and not replace him...
No, you have to replace him. You have to. Because... it would maybe be okay not replacing him if you get in a right back, but you can't have Gray covering, I don't think, the two positions, can you? Like, if we have Bergvall gone and you use Bentancur and Gray as the midfield replacements, that's not the end of the world, you know, two very able backups. But then all of a sudden, if you need him for cover at right back as well, then I think you could potentially become a bit stretched in that situation.
Yeah, obviously you got Gallagher who can drop him, but at the moment we need him for the number 10. So,
and Sarr's still here as well.
Sarr is still here. It's all going a bit quiet with Sarr at the moment. Still rumours, still little murmurings of Villa, but nothing really moving forward with that.
I reckon Sarr goes in like the last few days of the window.
Yeah, so I would only sanction this if we have someone like Scott lined up. I wouldn't want to rely on Gray and Bentancur. Like, I just feel like that lacks a bit of quality, even though they're backups. I know we got Tonali and we got Fernandez, which is great, but I think having Bergvall there as well, I think on the ball keeps up that quality if one of those are injured a bit.
And also getting back into Europe next season, the benefit of having Bergvall and Archie Gray is going to be massive. It's going to be absolutely massive, because all of a sudden the squad building is not an issue anymore, because you've got them two homegrown, you've got Luca Williams-Barnett, you've got Mikey Moore, and that's 4 already. So, and Brandon Austin as the backup or third choice goalkeeper. That's 5 homegrown players, club-trained players that that's just not a thing anymore. So I think the priority should be to keep him. But anyway, that is the transfer news. There has been an update from Jay Harris regarding the medical team, and he says that Tottenham's performance director Dan Lewington conducted an investigation into the club's injury record and has instigated important changes, including an increased focus on individualised player care. The squad will be split into groups of 4 4 to 6 players who have their own physio and sports scientist. The theory is that staff will be able to dedicate more time to each player and understand them better. This should help medical and performance staff to make informed decisions and recommend small but significant tweaks to a player's training schedule based on their injury history and requirements of their position. I mean, I would have thought that that should have been the case like beforehand anyway. It just sounds like something so obvious. Like, don't every player just have like individual training plans and medical plans and or is everything just put into one thing saying if this player's got this injury, he does this, and why isn't everything individualized anyway?
That should have been the case for a long time, for the last decade. I don't know what it's like at other clubs, but surely that just sounds logical. Each player has different demands. Not everyone can be the same. Maybe a fullback has to be doing more running than a centre back. So their regimen, their recovery, all their training when it comes to fitness and injury prevention can't all be the same. It can't all be uniform. So if we weren't doing that before, then that's been a massive oversight, and that probably goes down to who they're hiring as medical team not having that idea, or whether they had that idea and they were told no, that can't happen for whatever. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the medical department, but I really hope. Well, I kind of hope that it is true what he's saying, because it kind of explains a lot of what's been happening. So hopefully that will start to change. But it's ridiculous the fact that that hasn't been the case before, and I think we are seeing. Hopefully, I'm thinking we are seeing signs of, in pre-season, us being super careful with players in the lead up to the new season. You're seeing a doggy being managed. Obviously, he's not been playing, which we're frustrated with.
Or training.
Yeah, but maybe there's a certain thing they're doing with him to make sure he's ready for the season. Same with Van der Ven. He hasn't come back and trained. Solanke at the moment, we're being super careful with him. Kudus, reportedly, could have played on the weekend, but we're being very, very careful with him. So I think there are signs of us just managing these players in a different way and making sure that when they're back, they are back ready and we're not rushing them whatsoever.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see a much more kind of better process of how we manage these situations. We won't be going into every season with, we've got injuries now, but I'm talking about throughout the season. We won't see these mental injury crises that we've seen over the past couple of years. So I guess this is what Dan Lewington was brought in for. He was brought in to oversee and overlook everything that was going on at the football club, and whatever changes that he sees fit in the medical team was probably the first place to start. So let's hope it brings big positive changes for Tottenham Hotspur. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we have brought you today. A couple of super chats brought in. Dark Sun G saying, look how long our transfer lists are on the screen. It is bloody long.
Yeah.
It just goes on forever, look.
Bloody hell.
Vicario about to be added to that as well. He also says that Spence, Kuti, Vic were out of the UK. Everton is in the UK, obviously talking about Richarlison and the potential price that he could go for. Yeah, that is true. But also Richarlison has a long history of injuries. He's also got only a year left in his contract.
Well, on that, Ali Gold's just done an article by him, and he apparently said in the article that Tottenham do have an option to extend Richarlison's contract. This is to protect his value. Spurs do not plan to let the Brazilian leave on the cheap this summer.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone's paying big money for him.
Neither do I. So I think we're going to have to compromise if we want to sign a striker, if we want to bring one in. Yeah. We're going to have to compromise on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Having said that, goal scorers are hard to come by, and he is a goal scorer. You know, he's gotten double V, or his goals to 90 ratio is unbelievable, really.
Yeah.
So
it is good.
That is something that you can sell, but I don't think you can sell it as much as like north of 30 million. First of all, I'd be totally shocked if he goes for 30 million, but there's no way we get above 30 million.
Yeah. I think any thought to 40 million, I think is fanciful. I think it's deluded. I think you're looking at closer to 20, to be honest. That's what we were thinking at the beginning of the summer. Because for like 3 years now, I mean, look at how many starts has he made in the last 3 seasons. I think 2 years ago he only made 4 starts in the whole year. I think last year was like 20. The year before was at 18. So he hasn't even played. He hasn't even played 38 games in the last 3 seasons.
Well, starts he hasn't made 38 games.
Yeah, he hasn't had 38 starts in the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, which is true. But, you know, last season, he was pretty much fit for the whole season, though. Which is a credit to... I mean, I say it's a credit to him. It's a credit to someone that's had the issues that he's had the previous 2 years.
Well, I think he had one injury for like... Wasn't he out for like 6 weeks in like January or February time?
Let's have a look.
I'm pretty sure because it happened again that Solanke came back and then he got injured. It happens every time.
Richarlison injury history. So 25-26 was last season. Yeah, he missed 7 games for injury last season on a hamstring.
Yeah, there you go. Like
around
6
January.
weeks.
Yeah, around January to
5 weeks.
February.
5 weeks.
Like 24-25 was blighted with injury. 23-24 again was blighted with injury. 22-23 he missed 10 games. Last season he missed 7 games.
Yeah, but like Solanke came back in January. He then misses 7 games. Then Richarlison comes back and Solanke went out, got injured.
Yeah,
it's just how since Solanke and Rishi have been here, neither of them have been fit at the same time.
Yeah.
It's been a very weird quirk.
So he joined us in 22-23, right? He missed 10 games that season, 17 games the season after, 40 games the season after, and 7 games last season.
I guess at least there's a little bit of evidence that the injury situation is improving.
Yeah.
But still, you got to take that risk, don't you? That he won't break down again.
Yeah.
And it was all... I remember during that injury situation, they were trying so many different things. And I remember Andrew was talking about it and I can't remember, maybe the other was it Frank as well? They were just saying, we're just trying ways to keep him fit. Maybe this is the thing that'll keep him fit. And he just kept breaking down.
What is it like? Before he joined Tottenham, he had 11 games missing the season before, 2 the season before, 2 the season before that, 2 season before that. Like before Tottenham, injuries just weren't like an issue at all. Same with Solanke.
Same with Solanke, yeah.
It's just madness. Like, what do they do to them?
Medical staff,
What do they do to them, man? It's just madness. And now they're just known as like these like perennially injured players when before they were at Tottenham, they just weren't. They were just normal players that played football. Anyway. Big up to all of you guys. Nearly 2,000 people here in the live chat. Smash that like button, people. What are we talking about now?
So let's talk a bit about pre-season. Talking about a kind of, first of all, do you think, what that chat's still up there? Should probably take that off. So we went up pre-season unbeaten. I think we showed some good football. I think there was obviously positives. Good build-up, defenders integrated, midfielders getting some good game time. Obviously, we all know the attack problems. But I think, obviously, there are a few questions from pre-season that maybe we could talk about going into the new season. I think one of the first questions for me is, do you think De Zerbi, given our lack of a number 10 right now, or lack of proper number 10, and our wealth of centre-backs, do you think he could have trialled a 3-4-3 in pre-season? Because we've got Senesi, hopefully Van der Ven will be fit. We've got, or even if not, Davis can play in a back 3. You've got, obviously, Van Hecker's come in. Robbo, you think, could play a wing-back with his delivery. Porro could maybe play a wing-back. You've got Tonali and Fernandes, who would do that role well. And then you've got the front 3, and it eliminates the need, maybe, to have that kind of number 10 position we're struggling to fill right now. Obviously, we know that De Zerbi has... I think De Zerbi, I don't know how many times he played it, but I'm pretty sure at his other clubs he has played that formation. I think at Brighton he played it a bit as well. So, I don't know, in pre-season, considering what he's got available, do you not think that's something maybe we could have seen in trial?
Potentially, but I think he wanted to get his kind of go-to method, his start, because obviously last season, 7 games to go, he didn't imprint much tactical philosophy into the team. And I think his go-to formation, as much as he has gone with 3 at the back before, I think his go-to formation is a 4-2-3-1. So I think he wants to imprint his, complete ideal methods into the team before he starts like deviating away from that, and maybe that will come later on. And you got to look at it as well, like with the players that we have had at our disposal, could we even play a 3-4-3 during pre-season? We don't have any 10s. Like we've got to play 2 10s behind the striker.
Or you play like more Intel.
Yeah, you could do that.
See, funnily enough, when he first joined Brighton, he started playing a 3-4-3. That was his first formation he played and he joined mid-season. So he went immediately to a back 3 when he first joined. But then he kind of switched up and was chopping and changing it. Then later in the season, he settled into a back 4. But I don't know. I'm just feeling like, obviously, we're all wondering how we're going to, how we're going to fit Senesi in and stuff, because he's obviously a new signing. Right now, Maddison looks completely off it. We know Xavi's out. Decky's nowhere near fit. Gallagher, I don't think any one of us are really convinced about him right now in that position. So I just wonder for the start of the season, while we're getting these other players up to speed, if that's something he could have considered, or at least just trialled it in a game or 2 in pre-season, just to see.
I just think he probably thinks that's the best way to go is a 4-2-3-1, even with the players that we have at our disposal. I think where do you even fit Conor Gallagher in? I mean, I think he loves Conor Gallagher for some reason. So I mean, where do you fit Conor Gallagher in that 3-4-3, or does he even like try?
No, he does. He doesn't.
Gallagher in.
He plays in. He plays.
I do think 4-2-3-1 is still the best way to go. I do, even with the lack of number 10, even with Conor Gallagher there, because, like I said after the game yesterday, like even if Conor Gallagher is not the ideal player to play in that 10, we're still going to be able to create chances and score goals, and with Conor Gallagher in that 10 because of his work rate and because of his pressing. So I still think 4-2-3-1 is still the best way to go.
I think long term it is. I'm just wondering, at the beginning of the season, we all have our concerns, don't we, about what our team's going to look like. Obviously, if we get our signings in, then obviously that could change, and maybe that's just what he's banking on. We get those attacking signings in, and then we have the kind of players to get that 4-2-3-1 working for the start of the season, and in the meantime, just get everyone up to speed with that formation. And then once you get the signings in, it's not going to be an issue. But for me, and I'm not even saying like that should be our formation at the start of the season. I'm just saying maybe that's something to trial, even just for a game, just to, in case we need that, because maybe that could be a formation we could use.
Yeah, look, there's a case for it, but I just feel like now De Zerbi's here for a full season. He just wants to get his system down to a T, and his system, his go-to system, will be a 4-2-3-1 at Spurs. I think we've seen it ever since he's come here. So I think he just wants to perfect that and really just go again, keep perfecting it. Like the guy knows what he wants, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And I think that's what he wants.
I just think if he can adapt, I think that's something, even mid-game, maybe for a half, something. I think that would have been nice, I think, to have seen him do that, and especially with the players we got, and especially with the centre backs we have, because I think that would really suit the centre backs. Senesi on the left, and maybe Senesi in the middle, Van der Ven left centre back, Van Hecke right centre back. I think that's something. Imagine our build up with that. I think that could be something really interesting. And then you got Robbo flying down the right. Anyway, I think that's just a question. Could he have tried a 3-4-3? I want to know what people think in the comment section. Is that something that you would have liked to see, or was he right just to go 4-2-3-1? Another question I think we leave pre-season with is Williams Barnett. Should he be getting a bigger role this season? A role, because he hasn't obviously had a role really.
100%.
Especially early in the season while we're lacking attacking numbers.
There's no doubt about it, about Luca Williams-Barnett should have a role in the first team this season. He's too good for the under-21s, which makes him too good for the under-18s. He's too young to go out on loan. So there's only one option, and that is him to be in and around the first team. he has, and he's versatile as well. He can play on the left, he can play through the middle, he can play plenty of different roles. We're lacking numbers through the middle, we're lacking numbers on the wings as it stands currently right now. So I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I think he actually, it's not even a question of should he has to have a role because we've got no one else.
Yeah, I really want to see him in match day squads, and if we need him coming off the bench in the latter stages of the games, I don't think De Zerbi should be shy about it. I think he's shown in pre-season physically looks well ahead of the other most of his peers, anyone his age.
Compare him to Mikey Moore. Compare him to when Mikey Moore was at that age, in that season under Ange. You know, we all said physically he don't look ready.
Yeah.
And
he's different.
I think it's, they're worlds away in terms of stature and physicality at the same age.
Yeah. You saw Williams Barnett against Hoffenheim, a Bundesliga team, and he just looked completely at home. He had no worries. He was taking people on. He just does things with a bit of class as well. Nothing phases him. I think he needs to be getting a role this season, even if it's just cameos, even if it's like what City did right at the beginning with Foden, like just during the season, just sprinkle in 5-10 minute cameos here and there. He doesn't have to be playing every game, and we're not saying he needs to be starting games necessarily, although I'd like to see that.
Against Charlton.
I would like to see that, but we'll see. I'm not even saying that, but just integrate him into the team. I think he needs, because this has been a breakout pre-season for him.
Yeah.
And I think from what we've seen, this guy looks like something special.
100%. I couldn't agree more. He has to have a role within the team this year. And look, if it doesn't go completely according to plan, and he looks out of his depth in the Premier League, because there's one thing playing in pre-season, there's another thing playing in the Premier League. They're two completely different kettles of fish. At one stage you're playing Sydney and Auckland and Hoffenheim behind closed doors, and then you're suddenly in the physicality of the Premier League. They're completely different. So it wouldn't be a total shock if he looks a bit out of his depth in the Premier League, would it? So if he does, you still need to keep him and give him those minutes towards the end of games this season, and then next season you consider the loan when he turns 18. But for him to be in and around it this year, I think will do him the world of good.
Yeah, 100%. And also, I've seen some suggestions, people at the moment saying he should be ahead of Maddison in the pecking order right now, considering what they saw from Maddison against Hoffenheim.
Yeah, look, Maddison's going to be a process, isn't it? Like, I think Maddison needs those minutes, though.
Yeah,
Maddison needs those minutes because we need to get him up to scratch as soon as possible. So you're not going to get up to scratch like that just being we're not getting any minutes. That's how you get him up to scratch.
Look, and obviously I don't know how much control Tottenham or Maddison had over this, but obviously it's very frustrating that these minutes are going to have to come in the Premier League now, as opposed to having those minutes during pre-season to get him ready for the Premier League. But that's just reality. Obviously there are rumours he picked up an injury or whatnot. Obviously he's only played 45 minutes this pre-season.
He clearly did pick up something because he played at the back end of last season.
Yeah, I understand that. But I don't know, there's weird rumours flying around that Doggy's not injured at the moment, but he's just being managed, and I don't know what to believe right now when it comes to behind the scenes, what's going on with some of these players.
How many times have you heard at Spurs this guy's just picked up a knock and you don't see him for 6 months?
Yeah.
Like, I don't buy that none of these players are injured. I don't buy it at all. Like, if they were not injured, they would be training at least.
But I don't know what to level there. Maybe they are training, but individually, I don't know. Not training with the team. I don't know what's going on. It's a bit of a peculiar one. But when it comes to Madders, definitely you saw how rusty he was against Hoffenheim. Like at what point do you, because he definitely won't start Brentford on the back of that showing.
No.
Like, do you think it could take how long do you think it could take before we start seeing him starting games, based on what you saw?
I think it could be a month, could be 2-3 weeks. I think between the 2 to 4 week kind of period, I reckon. He looked well off it.
Like, would you even start him against Charlton based on what you saw?
I think I'll probably maybe give him half an hour. I don't think I'd start him. He just doesn't look anywhere near ready.
Yeah.
So he looks well off it. But I guess, like, as the game wore on, he'd start to look a little bit better. So maybe those minutes would have done him well. And look, it's a behind closed doors friendly against Hoffenheim, and he can only play 45 minutes. So I doubt he's going to be able to play a significant part in a competitive game.
I kind of feel like we won't see him start till October. That's kind of the feeling I get. Maybe. I hope I'm wrong, because I think we need him. He's such an important player for us. Even now, even with the signings that we're set to get, I still think he's one of the most important players in the squad.
Yeah. It brings on another question about Maddison, though, about the captaincy. Like, SZY said, it's Maddison captain. He's pretty sure of it. But I'm starting to doubt that he's going to be captain. I'm thinking, like, if he was really going to be captain, surely you make him captain for the game against Hoffenheim. Like, why would he not have... Like, if De Zerbi sees him as the captain, surely he would have put the armband on him for that Hoffenheim game.
Maybe he's trying to... Yeah, I don't know. Can't think of a reason. Obviously, Ben Davies wore the captain's armband. Obviously, Gray wore it for the main game in front of fans. But then again, who else would have worn it? Because Robbo is a new signing. He's not going to give it to him. Van Hecke's a new signing. Senesi's a new signing. All the other players, they probably aren't in the running for the captaincy. Tonali's a new signing. So who was actually in the running for the captaincy on the pitch? Yeah, you could say Richie, but he's not really in the running for the captaincy. So I guess maybe Gray kind of made sense in a way to give it to him. And obviously he's given it to him a few times already this pre-season. So just trying to give him that responsibility. Yeah, but for that behind closed doors one, I think you're right. I mean, if he's going to give it to Maddison, why didn't he come out with the captaincy? Makes no sense.
So this makes me start to think maybe it is going to be a Van de Ven or a Pedro Porro. Maybe it'll be one of those two. But then again, when are we going to see them on the pitch as well? Because Van de Ven, haven't seen a minute from him in pre-season, and Pedro Porro obviously coming off the back of winning the World Cup, so he's going to be slowly integrated. Do you reckon Porro starts the first game?
I've got a feeling he does.
He does.
I think he does. I just get the feeling with Porro, he's one of those players. I understand he only had one training session before the friendly, so maybe that was a little bit too soon. But I just think he's one of those players where you give him a week training and he's just back up to speed straight away. He's so durable. He's so reliable. I don't think he's going to need a lot of work. He just seems like that kind of character for me. Yeah. So I think he's one of those players that will start. He will start first game of the season. Do you think, in terms of the captaincy for Maddison, if we are theorising he might not be, it's going to be a difficult season and fitness-wise, does that impact whether you give him the captaincy, or does that not affect your decision?
For me, it doesn't affect it. For me, if you want him to be captain because of the leadership role that he has in the squad and the leadership ability that he does have, I think you give him the captaincy. And you have able deputies in Van de Ven and Pedro Porro who can step in if need be. Like, look, we had it all these years with Ledley King. You wouldn't have you weren't going to take off the captaincy off him, were you? So I don't think it's that much of a big deal, to be honest, because it's... You need leadership. You need leaders all over the pitch at the end of the day. It's not just the captain's the leader and that's it. The captain is the figurehead of the club and the leader of the club, and that is, a lot of it is behind closed doors. A lot of it is in the changing room, and a lot of it is these kind of pep talks you give towards your teammates in and around the training ground and everything like that. On the pitch is a different thing. On the pitch, you have leaders everywhere, and you have deputies, and that's why you have deputies.
Yeah, I completely agree. As you said, it's a good retort to say Ledley King was captain for however long, and his fitness was never assured, was it? So, and he was obviously a great captain. So I don't think it matters too much your availability per se, whether that makes you a good captain, because you're still going to be in and around the dressing room regardless. You're still going to be able to get your point across to the team. But obviously you do want a captain on the pitch as well, and that's where the vices come in the leadership group.
And look at him at the last 7 games of last season. It's not like he started any games, but still, I still think he showed his leadership ability and his leadership credentials. Even when he was out with the ACL, he was showing it.
Absolutely. Matthijs Tel, arguably the player of pre-season, should we say? Yeah. I think a lot of people were very impressed, very happy with Matthijs Tel. Even with new signings to come, do you think he's going to surprise a lot of people this season? He's got a bigger role to play.
I think so. Obviously, we've had a lot of debates over Matthijs Tel over the last year or two. I think he's shown this pre-season that he is ready to work. He really wants it. He's here and available, and shows the manager that he's got something to give to this football team. I think he has to start. He has to start. No matter who we bring in this week, he has to start that game against Brentford for the pre-season that he's had, because, like you said, he's been the best player. He's looked our most dynamic and dangerous player, looking like he's got a bit of quality about him. So, you know, you've had him not being rewarded for the good work that he's put in before under Thomas Frank. Left out the Champions League squad, put in, left out again. You know what I mean? He's always... the man management that previous managers has given him has been nothing short of shocking. That's the reality. So I want to see Roberto De Zerbi give him some sort of respect to show him that, you know, he can be a big part. If you perform like that, you're going to be rewarded for your good performances. So he has to start for me the first game.
I agree. Even if we sign Gakpo and Savinho, I think Tell still needs to be in the starting 11 this weekend, because I think it sends out the wrong message if he comes immediately straight out the team, considering how he's played. And if Tell is ever going to have a long future at Tottenham and he's going to make it and be a big player for us down the line, we're going to have to show some trust in him at some point. And if he keeps, so the trust is, if he keeps playing like he's playing, he keeps up these performances, he's in the team. That is the trust that De Zerbi has to show him. And Tell is looking so much more confident. He's looking so much sharper. He's making better decisions in the final third. I love what I saw from him against Hoffenheim in those final 20 minutes. That little trick to Mikey Moore for that second assist. That confidence to try something, try a little trick. Yeah, if it doesn't come off, all of a sudden, might be people are moaning, oh, he doesn't make a good decision. But he tried it, it came off, and he had the quality to pull it off as well. I think he obviously scored a brilliant free kick during pre-season. I think maybe his shooting ability could have been better, I think. I think he definitely got better shooting ability than we saw from him in pre-season. But what I loved about him is he's creating more chances. He's being more dangerous on the ball. He's taking people on. I've never seen him take people on in a Tottenham shirt like I've seen him take him on in his pre-season. All of a sudden, defenders are really struggling to handle him. They're struggling to get the ball off him. He's looking stronger. So if Matthew Tell...
You got to caveat it with pre-season and the opposition that we were playing.
Yeah, but he didn't do this last pre-season. Not that I remember.
I can't even remember last pre-season. Last pre-season, we weren't given the license to attack.
No. I just think, look, you got to give credit where credit's due. Like
100%. He deserves all the credit, but, the level of opposition in pre-season was shocking for the most part. Let's be real.
And I had problems with that. Yeah, I agree.
So he needs to do it in the Premier League. There's still questions about Matty Tell. There's still questions about him, but because of the performances that he's put in, he needs to be starting, because you need to carry on that kind of wave of confidence. He's playing with confidence right now. So a confident player is always a player at his best, and that's why he needs to start. But he needs to follow through with these performances in the Premier League.
Of course, he can't just not play well in the Premier League and keep his place. He's going to have to keep up this level of performance. But I really hope this could be a bit of a breakout season for Tell as well. And I think there are signs of it in pre-season that he's entering a bit of a new level. He's got the confidence and the backing of De Zerbi. I'm really hopeful of a really good start to the season for him. And I think creatively, that was one of my big gripes about him. I think he was a player who wasn't making great decisions in terms of when he's setting teammates up or when he decided to dribble or put a cross in, and he seems to be fixing that a bit in pre-season. He's got quite a few assists, and they're quite good assists as well. So I think that's something that there are signs of that improving really well. So I think this could be a really big breakout season for Tell. I'm really hoping so. I think this pre-season, maybe there are signs of it.
Yeah.
Mikey Moore. Does that last game against Hoffenheim change anything for you?
A little bit. I think it was brilliant in that game.
He really was, wasn't he?
I thought in the first half, he was relentless, kept taking on his man, creating solutions. In the second half, he played like the kind of Brennan Johnson role, didn't he? Getting into good areas and being able to finish his dinner, which was fantastic to see. So I thought he showed two sides of his game in the Hoffenheim friendly. So I was delighted to see that. Obviously, it followed on from a couple of not great performances from Mikey Moore. So that was his kind of real standout display of pre-season, because I don't think his other performances were anything to write home about. I think when you're looking at the makeup of the squad, let's say for argument's sake that we do bring in Gakpo and Savinho, So the winger options are Tel, Gakpo, Savinho, Kudus, right? There's no one else I'm missing. I think if you have a Mikey...
Or Williams-Barnett,
Barnett as well, but, you know, we're not looking for him to start. I'm talking about starters.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Mikey Moore alongside that, then that gives more of an opportunity for Mohamed Kudus to maybe play inside a bit more, especially in the early stages when we're struggling with creativity in the number 10. So I actually think Mikey Moore, even if we do make these signings, should stick around for the first half of the season while we're trying to bed in kind of James Maddison. And, you know, Maddison, like we said before, could be a bit of a slow burner this season, which will ultimately give a few more minutes to Mikey Moore. So I think it's a good decision that we've put this loan move on hold as of now. Look, if we can only bring in one of Gakpo and Savinho, then 100%, like, there's no question about it, Mikey Moore has to stay. But I think he'll get minutes. Even if we sign them both, I think he'll get minutes.
Do you reckon he'll start on Saturday?
I think if we bring in a player like in the next 48 hours, maybe not. Anything after that, he probably will start.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? We could be talking about setting him low, but he might have to start on Saturday because we have lack of options. Yeah, I kind of agree that I would like to see him stick for 6 months just to maybe alleviate or give a different option, and also the fact that he did play really well against Hoffenheim. But then again, we do have Williams-Barnett, so could he do that role? And then you could just send more on loan for the season, and without that worry, like, because maybe Williams-Barnett can fulfill the role that you're talking about, and he has to stay anyway. So,
but I think they can cover different positions as well. Like, Williams-Barnett can cover the left-hand side of things and Mikey Moore can cover the right-hand side of things. I know it's not Mikey Moore's preferable position.
Yeah, that's the thing, yeah.
But he showed it against Hoffenheim that he can do it.
He did, and maybe something clicked with him because he played on the right against Getafe, and I know, you know, again, behind closed doors, I do think behind closed doors makes a difference because there's less eyes on you, there's less pressure, everyone seems just more relaxed.
It's just more training mode,
yeah, it's more training. So he wasn't very good, but, you know, I don't know how much you can really take away from these behind closed doors ones. But against Getafe, he wasn't so great. But Hoffenheim, you know, with the fans behind him, you know, he was looking to put on a show, wasn't he? And and he was so brilliant. So he showed in that game maybe he's capable. But again, for Rangers, he didn't seem to be that great in that position. He seemed to be much better when he was on the left and in the middle. So whether that's somewhere can we rely on him to play that position? It's different to say he can do a job there, but if you're, you know, playing Kudus in the middle, is it something, I guess maybe as a sub appearances and stuff?
Look, is it better having Mikey Moore to fill a backup role in that position than no one? You know what I mean? Because it's either Mikey Moore, we're not going to sign anyone apart from Gakpo and Savinho. Obviously, you have Savinho. Let's say Maddison, he can't play for the first month of the season. So for the first month, and let's say Kudus can come in, you can play Kudus through the middle, Savinho on the right, Gakpo on the left. Then all of a sudden, later on in games, you can bring on a Mikey Moore, whether it be even in the 10 or on the right-hand side. And then you could bring on a Luka Williams-Barnett later on in the game on the left or even in the middle. You know what I mean? So it gives us a few different options.
Or if we sign like a Marmouche as well?
If we sign a Marmouche, I mean, Marmouche for me would be the number 9.
So that wouldn't change anything?
I don't think it makes too much of an impact on Mikey Moore.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I would like to see Mikey Moore stay, but it probably would be better for his development if he went on loan.
But I think, like, if he's not getting enough minutes, then you just loan him back out in January. I don't think it's the biggest of an issue.
Yeah, true. But he just wasted 6 months. That's all. Archie Gray.
But wait a sec. On the Mikey Moore and Luka Williams-Barnett thing, like, right here, right now, who do you think can make a bigger impact for us? Let's say on the left wing.
I mean, based on pre-season, Luka Williams-Barnett. Obviously, Moore has that experience of Rangers. He's also played in Europe for us as well and done quite well. Great season at Rangers. So I think that experience probably does help. Like, just in general, there's nuances when it comes to when you're actually playing the game. Obviously, it's all well and good pre-season and stuff. I'm not taking anything away from Luka Williams-Barnett. Been brilliant. And he might be a bigger talent than Moore. Might well be. I'm not disputing that. And maybe if he had those experiences up until this point, he might be ahead of Moore. But Moore might be pardon the pun, he might be more ready just to fill in, like having had those experiences already, not being overawed by the occasion, like having to work situations out. Like, whereas Williams-Barnett has to go through that, doesn't he? Like, maybe a player's marking him out the game and he has to figure out a solution, or where Mikey Moore has gone through those little things, those little nuances of experience. So, yeah, I think maybe Mikey Moore might be more ready. But then, you know what? Some players just have it, and maybe Lucas Williams-Barnett just has it. You never know. That's a big maybe.
You don't know until you're in the thick of it. So either you completely trust him and you say, look, you've got it, and Mikey Moore goes out on loan, or do you give yourself like a fallback option and have both of them around?
Yeah, I think I'm leaning. Look, Williams-Barnett has to be here anyway, so it's not like an option for him whether he's here or not. He kind of has to stick around. So from that point of view, I'm probably leaning towards just having Williams-Barnett and sending Moore on loan. But I would like Moore to be here if he's going to get minutes. I would like him to see that.
It's a case of like
I just don't think he will.
We said before about Luca Williams-Barnett coming on for like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, give him a taste of things throughout the season. With Mikey Moore, it's more of a case of you want to see him get
more than
25 minutes, half an hour towards the end of games. So I think even if you have them both, they're playing different roles within the squad.
But you're not going to want them both on the pitch at the same time.
Depends. Like in the cup games, you might want to start both of them.
Even that, I think, is unlikely. To be honest.
You don't think like Luca Williams-Barnett and Mikey Moore could smash it out against Charlton playing together?
Yeah, I think maybe one game, but then beyond that, I mean, it's just one game.
Depends on the draw, I guess.
True. But how many times we heard we want to take the cup seriously? We want to play, serious teams who don't want to risk anything. And also, if we get new signings, all these players are going to need game time at some point.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard even to justify both of them starting. Maybe one of them. I'm saying both of them. It's going to be difficult.
Like you start a Moore and then you bring on
you could do
Williams-Barnett with half an hour to go.
Yeah, could do
Something like that.
But again, past maybe the second and third, past the fourth round is we want to win that trophy, don't we? So it's going to be hard to justify it. Archie Gray played majority, funnily enough, a right back throughout the pre-season, given a lot of captaincy responsibility as well. So I think he's a player that clearly De Zerbi values. Is he, or are you comfortable with him being our backup right back throughout the season, with Spence now gone and him? If Porro doesn't start on Saturday, he will be playing right back.
Yeah, I think I'm not totally comfortable with it, albeit I do think he can do a good job there. I think we've seen it before. He's done it before. This season, during pre-season, he looked pretty decent there, albeit the last game he was a bit, wasn't great. I wouldn't want to see him, like, let's say, I know it probably won't happen, or I shouldn't say that because then now it will happen, but Porro, let's say he gets a long-term injury. Let's say he's out for a couple of months. Like, do we really want to see Archie Gray play at right back for a couple of months? I don't think so. I think selling Spence and just putting Archie at right back, I think it's downgrading a position. I think we've weakened in a position from last season to this year if we do that. So I said to you last week that I think the planning at right back has been pretty poor.
Do you think there's actually, if you look at in the big clubs in the Premier League, if you actually think about it, there's been a big trend of young central midfielders being converted into fullbacks. You've got Lewis Skelly, Nico O'Reilly, you've got Mateus Nunes, you've got there's also the likes of Zinchenko.
Yeah.
He was a centre mid.
Yeah.
Converted into a fullback.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a chance that Gray could be pigeonholed in the same way?
Well, I think he already has. I think if you look at his career, he's played more at right back than he has at centre mid. So I think that actually happened before he joined Tottenham. Again, in that season that we bought him off, he played the majority of that season at right back. So in terms of his experience, he's played more at right back than centre mid. But he's always said his favourite position is centre mid. De Zerbi has said he needs to pick a position. Maybe that position is right back.
But if you ask all those players I just mentioned, I bet they all say they want to play centre mid.
Yeah, probably. Again, looking at it the way that De Zerbi is going to utilise Porro at right back, he's going to be an inverted right back, and he's going to spend a lot of time in the central areas of the pitch. And we saw that in the last 7 games of last season. So if he plays an inverted right back role, Archie Gray, it probably would suit him more than the classic fullback role.
Yeah, but there's also precedent for all those players, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Like, they've turned into fullbacks, and there's no real sign of them. I mean, actually, Lewis Skelly has returned to midfield recently, but a lot of them, it's like they've gone to fullback as a short-term option. They've just seemed to have stayed there.
Yeah.
And it could very well happen with Archie Gray. But is that a bad thing?
It depends. It depends of where he plays his best football. Like, if he turns into a really good right back, then I'm all for it. You know, I'll be well comfortable with it. But from what I've seen from him at right back compared to central midfielder, I just think he's a lot better in centre mid, like significantly better. Like, you look at that performance. Remember that performance at Atletico Madrid in central midfield? I thought he was unbelievable there. I don't think we've seen anywhere close to that level of performance at right back so far from Archie Gray.
Yeah, I think he's had some good ones. I remember.
I'm not saying it's been bad.
Yeah, it's true. That performance as Atletico was brilliant. I remember in that run, though, that was also under Igor Tudor. He's played right back against, I think it was Palace. I know we were awful, but he played pretty well that game. I think Newcastle as well. I think he got the Newcastle game he scored, and the Palace game I think he got an assist for Solanke. And he was putting some really good performances at right back during that time. I just wonder. It just got me thinking whether, you know, he could follow some of these other midfielders. You know, these other young midfielders who've gone to fullback, and he could kind of be our version of that. And
he could be.
Someone said, could Archie Gray be the new Phil Neville?
The Phil Neville.
I mean, he was a player as well. Was started at centre mid and moved to right back.
Yeah. Look, in an ideal world, I would say, look, let's go get Daniel Munoz. Let's go get Nico Williams. We'll get one of these guys. If we end up with Archie Gray there, like, it just brings me back to my point. Are you fully comfortable? Because you need to be fully comfortable with the player having that role for a sustained amount of time if the first choice gets injured. And are you comfortable with Archie Gray, let's say for 2 months, every game at right back, starting week in, week out?
But also, De Zerbi is also known of being very creative with his fullback options. Like, I've seen him play Pascal Gross there.
Yeah.
I've seen him play Moises Caicedo there. I've seen him play different players. Obviously, Joel Veltman, he's played there. He was his right back for a while. So if it isn't working, someone like De Zerbi is perfect because he does think outside the box when it comes to these solutions. But obviously, Gray's going to be the number one choice if obviously Porro goes out. But yeah, if it isn't working, we do have someone like De Zerbi who might come up with something creative.
Look, if we end up the window and we haven't signed a right back and Archie Gray has been asked to fill that role, I'm not going to be like completely angry. I'm not going to be saying, oh, da 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 da, and all this stuff. But it just will be slightly disappointing.
So all in all, pre-season now finished, and all those concerns and discussions. Brentford on Saturday, like, going into that game, like, do you think we'll win? Is that your feeling right now?
No, to be honest. No, I mean, it's going to be... Look, I think you're looking at Brentford's preparation for this game compared to our preparation for this game. They barely had players at the World Cup. They've had a full pre-season. They've had their first team working pretty much week in, week out. You saw them last week, batter Eintracht Frankfurt 7-0.
They're just looking sharp, aren't they?
They look completely ready for the season, where we don't. We don't look ready for the season. So it concerns me massively. Obviously, there's still a week to go, so we won't see the team from that Hoffenheim game all the way to the first game of the season, and a lot can happen in that week. And we do have a better team from them, man for man. But I just think the preparation of both teams going into it is going to play a massive factor. I'm talking about, we've spoken about it already, about this season potentially being a bit of a slow burner for the teams that had a lot of players at the World Cup. But we had a lot of players at the World Cup, but we also had a lot of injury concerns going into the new season as well. So we've kind of get it hit in double ways.
And all that travel as well.
Yeah, all the travel as well. So Brentford, I don't know where they played in their pre-season, if they stayed locally or or they travelled as well. But
I mean, on SofaScore, I can only see 2 friendlies they had, but I imagine they played more than that.
Yeah.
But I can only see Frankfurt, and they played Rennes in France. But I don't know, I'm assuming they played more, but maybe they have it on their official website.
so I just feel like Brentford have had a better time of it and a better preparation going into the season, and they're already a kind of solid unit as well.
Yeah.
Not many in, not many out, and Henderson's gone, and I think they brought in or Sangare or whoever it is, but they're already that settled team. They know what they're doing.
Just 2. They've just had 2 friendlies.
Maybe they had some behind closed doors ones. I'm sure they've had more, but we are kind of going into a bit of unknown. De Zerbi is kind of ripping up the plan from last season and going for something completely new. We're integrating so many new players. We've got injury concerns going into the game. The preparation for the season was all awful. So I think if you judge it on that, and also Brentford is an incredibly hard place to go at the best of times.
Yeah.
So I think we'll do fantastically well to get 3 points this weekend. I don't think we go into this game as favourites.
Do you take a draw?
No, I wouldn't take
pre-signings.
I wouldn't take a draw. I want to win. I think we can win. I'm not taking a draw against Brentford, but a draw wouldn't be the worst result.
No. Yeah, I just look at Brentford right now, and I think the main thing is they're a settled team. They're not like looking to integrate a bunch of signings. They know exactly all their jobs. And I'm not saying we haven't had a good preseason. I think we've grown a lot, like under De Zerbi for in this preseason. We're looking a lot better, and that's going to stand us in good stead. But I think coming up against Brentford, who had a brilliant season last season, and they're kind of primed probably to exploit us in a way, just because of how settled they are right now. Albeit they're the only team, one of the only team last season we actually didn't lose to. But I think it's going to be a really tough game. Look at the
issues that we spoke about against Hoffenheim, about how open we are. If we're that open going to the G-Tech,
yeah, they'll exploit.
They'll score, and they'll score quite a few.
Yeah, and also, you don't really back us to outscore anyone right now, especially a team like Brentford, who have got right now their forward line's much better than ours. Is obviously signings dependent. They do have a much better forward line than us. So if they get the advantage, do you really back Spurs to come back right now in these circumstances? So yeah, I think from that point of view, it's frustrating that we're going into the season thinking like this, because I want to go into the season as excited as I was a month ago when we had those 2 signings, or 6 weeks ago now even, when we had those 2 signings and we were all like, wow, we're going for it this season. And now with seasons upon us on the horizon, and we're like, doesn't feel like we're ready actually. And we might actually suffer some results in these first couple of weeks.
Yeah, but you know what?
Maybe we can surprise some people and surprise ourselves.
Just take Arsenal as an example, right? Their pre-season games before the Community Shield, they didn't look great. They were losing, drawing. They didn't get many wins. And they just tore Man City a new one yesterday.
What I would say, off the back of what we've just said, I think the way we play will keep us competitive. Even if we do have a lack of quality in the forward line and stuff, I still think they're not going to batter us. I think it's going to be a game where we'll be toing and froing. I just feel like if they get the lead, we might struggle to overcome it. But it keeps us competitive, though.
It depends, though, because if we show those traits, I guess it could be a high-scoring game, and we will score goals. But if we show those traits against Hoffenheim, like I said, we're going to concede a hell of a lot of goals, particularly against Brentford.
But I think since De Zerbi's come in, I think actually it's more like we've been defending a lot better, because we don't we build up really well, we control the game with the ball a lot better. So I think I agree, but even against Hoffenheim, they created lots of moments, but they didn't have that many clear-cut chances. I understand Brentford have much more quality, but I still envisage us to restrict them to, even if they do get some big chances, it won't be loads. It'll be a few, but it won't be loads. I don't think they're going to batter us. I still think it's only because of the way we play. I think it's still going to be a close game either way. That's the kind of feeling I get.
Looking at the first 5 games of the season, we got Brentford away, Newcastle at home, Forest away, Everton at home, and Villa at home. How many points can you see from the first 5 games?
So, how many games before September? 3, 2.
2 games.
Charlton,
before,
including
2,
Charlton.
2 games before September.
So is Newcastle in September?
Newcastle's just before September.
So
I'm not putting Charlton in it, just the league games.
I reckon we beat Newcastle at home.
Yeah. I think when you're looking at preparation going into the season, they're bottom of the pack.
I think my head's telling me that we lose to Brentford. My heart's telling me we draw. I don't think we win that game. I just don't think we win first game of the season. I don't think we embarrass ourselves either. I don't think we're going to come away thinking, wow, it's going to be a long season. I don't think it's going to be that kind of performance. I just don't. We're just not going to have enough, I think, to win in that game. I just get the feeling. So I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a win against Newcastle. Who's next?
Forest away.
I don't think we win that. I think that's going to be another draw. Again, then we got
Everton at home.
I think we win that. I think we beat Everton at home.
And then Villa at home.
I think we draw that.
So
5 games unbeaten.
5 games.
Can't bring myself to say we'll lose any.
3 draws and 2 wins.
I mean, that would be a good start to the season.
Yeah, it would be a very good start to the season.
What, 17 points? We probably lose. Maybe we lose to Brentford. Maybe put a loss to Brentford.
I mean, it gets tricky after that, doesn't it? Because Man United away, Coventry at home, and Chelsea away.
But hopefully by then we'll up to the swing of things.
Yeah. I kind of agree to a certain extent. Forest away and Brentford away are going to be really difficult games. However,
we have a good away form, yeah.
You're looking at the Forest game, you don't really know what Forest are going to be like. I know Ollie Glasner is a very good manager, but how quickly are Forest going to take to his way of playing?
I'm trying to remember how he was at Palace. I'm pretty sure, didn't he came mid-season and then he hit the ground running?
I thought it was a bit of a slow burner, wasn't it? I can't remember off the top of my head.
He has had a slow burner from the start. I remember it was in Angie's second season. I think they went like 8. I think they went 10 games. I think without winning or something like that.
At where?
Into 2024. It was Glasner's first full season. I think. Right. I think they went like the first 10 games or something without winning. He came the season before that. He came mid-season. I think did he take over from Hodgson?
For what, 24?
20. He came in 23-24. And I think they had a really good end to the season when he came in. I remember it was Palace, not Forest. Right. What's it called? It was Eze and Elise were just balling out. I remember they were amazing.
What date did he come in?
I can't remember exactly.
That's what it says here. 19th of Feb he came in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had a good end to the season.
So from the 19th of Feb, draw. Well, actually, it was actually a bit of a slow start. They had 1 win in their first 7 games. And then he started winning towards the end of the season. So he had a really poor start, to be honest.
But you will know what you will know what a Glasner team will look like. That's the thing.
Yeah. They had a lot of 1-1 draws. So his first game was 1-1 against Palace. Then they beat Burnley 3-0. Then they lost to Tottenham 3-1. Drew to Luton 1-1. Drew to Forest 1-1. Lost to Bournemouth 1-0 and lost to City 4-2.
Also, yeah. And that was a good Palace team as well. Elise, Eze, Mateta.
Yeah. And then they beat Liverpool at Anfield, and then they just won every other game.
Yeah, they were brilliant at the end of the season. I remember they were just absolutely battering everyone. Look, it's going to be difficult. But you're right, yeah. It depends how quickly they get up to speed. I don't know how they've been. I think they've been all right in pre-season, but I think it's going to be a difficult game. It's not going to be easy.
I think like you always say about what game's going to be hard, what game's going to be easy, and blah blah blah. There is not one easy away game in the Premier League, is there?
You look at apart from like the bottom 3, above the newly promoted teams, who again you don't know what to expect from them. It's always difficult, but like everyone else, it's like. Such difficult games. Everyone's got a good manager. Everyone's got good players. The Premier League is so competitive nowadays. Yeah.
So I have to wait and see how it all pans out. But I can't believe we're here. Like this week, at the end of this week, is the start of the Premier League campaign. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. But you just know when Friday comes around, we ain't going to be predicting no draws.
No, we're winning every game. God, we're winning every game. I can't remember the last time I ever actually in a preview, predict Tottenham to lose. Maybe at Anfield.
I think last year we predicted a lot of losses.
There's been some changes in scheduling.
Yeah, that was actually announced last week.
Was it?
I believe so. I think they're just announcing it now, but the information came out last week.
Ah, right.
But yeah, Man United, 5:30. What's that?
Coventry on a Monday night.
Coventry. Interesting. That's the day after Grandpa's birthday. Got to win it for Grandpa, that one.
24th of October, 5:30. And more Saturdays, eh? Apart from Coventry.
A couple of super chats. Troyza is saying, love the content, lads. Watching from Melbourne. With departures confirmed, how many foreign, homegrown and club-trained players are in the squad? So, I don't know, to be honest. I need to look into it. But I think there was a graphic somewhere.
Sorry, how many? What's the question?
That graphic, club-trained?
I believe right now, with Spence gone, we only have 6 homegrown and 1 club trained.
See, club trained doesn't actually make
No, it does make a difference in domestic.
I don't know, because I did have a graphic of it somewhere, but I can't remember where it is. I'll have to look into that, and we can make that another episode. Renegan Kumar says Richie GA equals Gyökeres's GA last season. What is that? Did they get the same GA last season?
Who?
Richie and Gyökeres.
Richie actually got, he got more GA than Krupi last season.
Yeah.
It's mad. We're all like clucking, as you say, for Krupi. And Richie's getting more GA than him.
Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it?
But it's not just about GA though. Not everything is about GA.
That,
you know what I mean? Like everyone, when I say we have so many conversations about a player, and if they don't bring the GA, then they're terrible players. But that's just not the case.
But also, we've been bagging on about how we need more GA though.
Yeah, we do. We do need more GA. That's just simple facts of
football.
Football. You need GA, but there's so much more to football as well.
I agree with that.
And the last super chat is from Powery saying, I think we float between both systems already. Midfields are more fluid in my opinion. Depending on the opponent or even the game state, I see 2 6s and a 10 or 2 8s and a 6. What do you make out of that?
Yeah, I think he's right. I think, but that's more like, he's absolutely correct. But we haven't tried a back 3 yet.
Yeah.
In terms of those 3 centre backs, so maybe we will. Maybe during the season he'll try it. And to be fair, this is the season to do it because we have 1 game a week, so he's going to have all that time in between games
and quality centre backs as well.
That's the thing. So, do you think we'll see it at all this season at some point?
I wouldn't bet against it. I wouldn't bet against seeing it at some point this season.
Even if we play a game where we start let's say Van der Ven a left back, that might morph into a back 3.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that would definitely happen. All right, well, that is it from us today. We shall hopefully get a bomber today. Who knows? You never know. But, big up to all of you guys. We'll see you all very, very soon. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.